14:07 local time, 30,000 feet above open water. Inside the cockpit of a U.S. Air Force F-22 Raptor, the A/APG-77 radar changes tone. Two contacts bearing 082 closing fast. No IFF response. The pilot, call sign Viper 111, says nothing. He doesn't need to. The Raptor's sensor fusion has already assembled the picture for him. Two aircraft are accelerating through Mach 0.95, holding altitude, flying in a tight formation. They are not drifting. They are not wandering. Their vector is pointed straight toward him, 78 nautical miles out. The sky is perfectly clear, visibility unlimited. But modern air combat is not decided by what a pilot can see. It is decided by signals, emissions, and who understands the invisible battlefield first. A narrow band spike hits the Raptor's warning receiver. High-power directional radar, search mode shifting into a more focused track. The F-22 records it instantly. Frequency pattern, pulse repetition, modulation changes, every detail stored and compared. The contacts begin to take shape on the composite display. Swept wings, twin vertical tails, large radar aperture, F-14 Tomcats, Iranian, 65 nautical miles. The Tomcats increase speed, their heat signatures brighten in infrared, their radar beams tighten. They are no longer just scanning the sky, they are concentrating on one specific point in it. Inside Viper's headset, the tone sharpens. That is not casual observation. That is engagement behavior. He keeps the aircraft steady. No sudden turn, no climb, no descent. Abrupt movement would signal that he has reacted, and reaction can reveal concern. Instead, Viper adjusts the Raptor's emission posture. The aircraft becomes quieter, not vanished, but harder to define. A slight controlled change in angle tightens its already tiny radar profile even further. On the Tomcat's scopes, the contact begins to fluctuate. They keep coming. 50 nautical miles. Still no radio call, no warning, no identification request, just speed, closure, and silence. Inside the Raptor, long-range options remain sealed in the internal bays. Selected, but safe. No doors open. No external change. No obvious signature. The aircraft was built for this exact situation. A head-on intercept, beyond visual range, where the first aircraft to truly understand the fight usually controls it. 40 nautical miles. The lead Tomcat drops slightly, about 2,000 feet lower. That small movement changes the geometry. A descending intercept improves the radar look-down angle, sharpens the track, and helps reduce clutter. It is not random. Viper banks 12 degrees left, smooth, controlled, just enough to force the other radar to update its calculations. The Tomcats mirror the turn. They are not passing by. They are committing. On the Raptor's tactical display, the signal spike grows sharper, stronger. 28 nautical miles. The F-22 fuses everything into one picture. Onboard radar, passive radio frequency detection, infrared data, and off-board links. A complete three-dimensional model forms in front of Viper. Estimated energy state, likely configuration, projected engagement range. The Raptor now understands the timeline down to seconds. Then the Tomcat's radar changes again. Narrow beam, sustained focus. Inside the cockpit, the lock warning becomes unmistakable. Now there is no doubt. The lead aircraft has moved from tracking to an engagement quality solution. 22 nautical miles. Viper still does not brake hard. He does not dive away. Instead, he climbs aggressively, pulling the Raptor from 30,000 feet toward 36,000 in seconds. The F-119 engines respond instantly. Strong thrust, clean acceleration, no dramatic plume needed. The Tomcats try to follow. They cannot match the climb. At the top of the maneuver, the Raptor rolls inverted and slices back down, shifting off axis. Not running, not rushing in. Just changing the geometry faster than the opposing radar can comfortably solve it. On the Tomcat radar displays, the return flickers again. Aspect angle matters. At certain angles, the F-22 becomes almost impossible to hold clearly. 18 nautical miles. To the human eye, the sky is still calm. Blue, empty, silent. But inside the systems, the encounter has compressed into seconds. The Raptor's engagement box stabilizes over the lead Tomcat. Parameters are within range. Everything is ready. Viper keeps master arm off. No escalation. The Tomcats hold their line. 17 nautical miles. 16. The lock warning pulses again. Viper holds the climb for one more heartbeat, then cuts sharply across their nose at a high angle, forcing the Iranian radar to reacquire what it thought it had already solved. For 3 seconds, they lose him. And at this distance, 3 seconds can change everything. The F-22 levels out at 38,000 feet, slightly offset and slightly above the Iranian formation, now sitting outside their most favorable radar angle. Behind him, the two Tomcats tighten up. They are still pressing forward, still focused on him, still trying to hold the solution. 15 nautical miles. The safety margin is gone. No one has launched. No radio message has been sent. But two Iranian fighters are now inside the danger zone of a stealth aircraft they cannot keep a steady picture on. And the Raptor has moved into a position they did not expect. The next decision matters. At 15 nautical miles, the sound inside the F-22 cockpit changes again. Not search, not simple tracking, a hard lock. The lead Iranian F-14 has fully committed its fire control radar. That means its system is calculating the final numbers: range, closure, angle, aspect, and timing. Inside the Raptor, the threat receiver pulses with a steady, unmistakable rhythm. Viper 111 does not react. No panic, no rushed movement. He checks the instruments. Altitude, 38,200 feet. Speed, just below Mach 1.3. Still in super cruise. No afterburner, no bright heat bloom, clean and controlled. The Tomcats are lower now, around 34,000 feet. Their noses are angled slightly upward as they try to maintain the lock. That matters. It forces their radar to look up, and looking up at a stealth aircraft is a much harder problem than looking down. The F-22 rolls right into a shallow 20-degree bank. Nothing dramatic, just enough to shift the closure angle and complicate the intercept. The jet looks almost calm in the sky, 14 nautical miles. Inside the Iranian cockpit, the AWG-9 radar tightens its beam even more. High-energy pulses, aggressive tracking behavior. The Raptor records everything: waveform, signal strength, frequency changes. Modulation under pressure. Every detail becomes data. Viper brings the long-range system to readiness. The AIM-120D is active, but the internal bay doors remain closed. Nothing appears under the wings, nothing changes from the outside. The aircraft keeps its clean shape. 13 nautical miles. Now both sides are inside a realistic beyond visual range envelope. If either aircraft commits fully, the response window becomes brutally short. The Iranian radar spike grows stronger. Viper hears it immediately. This is engagement-grade illumination. The Tomcat is either trying to force a reaction or preparing to make the next move. There is no room left for hesitation. The F-22 climbs again. Not slowly, almost vertical. Viper pulls the nose up and drives the jet toward 45,000 feet. The F-119 engines answer instantly. Thrust vectoring keeps the climb smooth, stable, and controlled. Still no afterburner. Still clean. Below him, the Tomcats try to follow, but they cannot match the geometry. They were built for another era. Fast, powerful, and dangerous, but not designed to fight a fifth-generation aircraft in a vertical contest like this. 12 nautical miles. The radar lock flickers, then comes back. The Iranian crews are fighting to keep the picture stable. At the top of the climb, Viper rolls inverted and drops through a diagonal vector, cutting across the intercept line. The move forces the Tomcats to overshoot their predicted geometry. Now their radar has to rebuild the picture. That costs time. And at this range, time is everything. 11 nautical miles. The F-22 levels at 41,000 feet. Now offset 30 degrees from the original intercept path. The Iranian jets are slightly nose high, working to regain a clean lock. The warning tone drops for half a second. Then it returns. They have found him again. 10 nautical miles. Inside the Raptor's display, both Iranian aircraft are marked and tracked. The solution is solid. The engagement window is open. Viper still does not commit. Instead, he cuts his own radar completely. Silence. The F-22 goes dark. Now he is relying on passive sensors only: infrared, electronic support data, and sensor fusion. He is no longer announcing himself. He is listening. To the Iranian pilots, the return degrades sharply. Their radar is still pushing energy into the sky, but the target is not reflecting back the way it should. 9 nautical miles. That is close enough for the visual merge. Viper banks hard left, drops 2,000 feet, and accelerates through Mach 1.5 in supercruise. No visible flame, no dramatic trail, just speed. The Raptor slips out of the Tomcat's best radar cone. Inside the Iranian cockpit, the warning systems likely erupt. They know something has changed. They know the picture is no longer stable. Inside the F-22, the lock tone goes silent. Not because the threat is gone, because the geometry has shifted. Viper pushes the aircraft into a high-aspect crossing move, sliding laterally across the nose of the Iranian formation. The Tomcats overshoot. By the time the Tomcats roll to find him again, the F-22 is no longer in front of them. He is above them, and drifting behind. 7 nautical miles. The Iranian formation separates slightly. One aircraft climbs, the other drops lower, trying to trap the Raptor between two angles. But now they are no longer solving the fight. They are guessing. The F-22 is not guessing. Its passive sensors keep both aircraft locked into a perfect picture. Infrared signatures, radar emissions, movement, altitude, spacing. Everything is clear inside Viper 111's display. Then, for just 1 second, Viper brings his radar back online. A sharp, narrow pulse. Both Iranian aircraft appear instantly on the scope. From above, from behind. Perfect position. Inside the Tomcat cockpits, their warning systems erupt. The message is clear. They are no longer the ones applying pressure. They are being tracked 6 nautical miles. From this angle, the Raptor has complete control of the encounter. If this were a real combat exchange, the Tomcats would have almost no time to understand what was happening. But Viper keeps Master Arms safe. He does not escalate. He simply holds the lock. 3 seconds. 4. Long enough for the message to land. Below him, one Tomcat breaks hard right. The other releases flares and chaff, even though nothing has been launched. Bright countermeasures scatter behind the aircraft as both jets shift into defense. The F-22 stays steady, calm, controlled, dominant. The distance opens again, 7 nautical miles. 8. The Iranian jets begin descending quickly, noses turning toward their home vector. They are no longer pressing forward. Their formation has changed. Their energy has changed. Their confidence has changed. The Raptor holds the lock for 2 more seconds. Then Viper lets it go. Silence returns. No launch, no impact. Just the afterimage of a maneuver that reversed the entire encounter in less than 30 seconds. The sky is still blue. The ocean below is still calm. But the balance of control has completely shifted. The Iranian jets came in aggressively. Now they understand who was truly managing the fight. 8 nautical miles, and the gap keeps growing. The F-14S continue descending. Their noses are angled toward home, their spacing defensive instead of forward-leaning. But Viper does not assume it is finished. Not yet. At 41,000 feet, the F-22 holds altitude for 2 more seconds, watching through passive sensors. The Iranian pilots likely believe they have broken contact. Their radars sweep ahead, searching the airspace where the Raptor used to be. They are looking in the wrong direction. Viper eases the nose down and slips back into supercruise. Mach 1.3 without afterburner. No bright plume, no large heat bloom, no obvious trail from a distance. The F-22 arcs wide, high, and quiet. The Tomcats never see the reposition. Within seconds, the Raptor is sliding into their rear quarter, 6,000 feet above and slightly offset. The geometry change is so clean, it feels planned before the first move ever happened. Inside the cockpit, the display remains calm. Both Iranian aircraft are tracked solidly through infrared and passive radio frequency detection. Viper does not need to use radar yet. The Raptor sees them clearly. They see nothing. 7 nautical miles. The Iranian formation tightens again. Lead and wingman draw closer, possibly communicating, possibly reassessing what just happened. Their radar emissions spike briefly, then settle. No hard lock, no focused pressure, only searching. Viper banks left, slow and deliberate, bleeding just enough altitude to reduce the vertical gap. He is not chasing them. He is shaping the space around them. At 5 nautical miles, the Raptor is directly behind the lead Tomcat. Slightly high, slightly offset. Textbook rear aspect control. In a real engagement, this position would decide the outcome. From this angle, the AIM-120D would have a powerful advantage, and the Tomcat crew would likely have very little warning before the final phase. But nothing leaves the Raptor. Instead, Viper taps the radar back on. A brief pulse. Focused, narrow, intentional. Inside the F-14 cockpit, the warning receiver erupts again. Hard lock from behind. The Iranian pilot reacts instantly. Hard brake right. Nose dropping. Flares punch into the sky. Chaff spreads behind him in bright metallic clouds. His wingman splits left. Both aircraft are defensive now. Neither pilot knows exactly where the Raptor is because the lock appeared and stabilized almost instantly. The F-22 holds it. 2 seconds. 3, 4. Long enough. Then the radar goes dark again. Silence. The Iranian jets level out at a lower altitude. Their speed begins to build. This is no longer pressure. This is egress. 6 nautical miles. 7. The Raptor stays high, watching and recording. Inside the F-22's mission systems, every detail is being captured. The delay between the defensive brake and the flare release, the radar shutdown sequence, the way the formation behaved under pressure. This is not just an intercept. This is intelligence. Below, one of the Tomcats hesitates. A shallow bank back toward the original engagement area. Not a full turn, not a real re-entry, just a test. Viper answers immediately. He lowers the nose and accelerates again, cutting diagonally across their projected path at supersonic speed. A brief vapor cone flashes around the Raptor as it slices through the air. This time, the Iranian pilot sees it. A gray shape, high and fast, moving with effortless control. The Tomcat rolls back onto its outbound heading at once. No more testing. 10 nautical miles. The Raptor climbs again, rising to 44,000 feet and taking back the vertical advantage. From that altitude, Viper can still track both aircraft through infrared alone. The Iranian radar remains quiet. No more focused beams. No more locks. They have chosen distance. The sky begins to settle, but control still belongs to the aircraft shaping the geometry. Viper holds a parallel course for another 30 seconds, making sure the separation continues to grow. No rush, no aggressive dive, no unnecessary pressure, just presence. At 15 nautical miles, the Iranian jets shrink against the horizon. The Raptor levels at cruise. Master arm remains safe. The internal bays are still closed. Nothing has been launched. No radio call has been exchanged. But the encounter has already delivered its message. Iran tried to apply radar pressure at medium range. The F-22 faded from their picture, repositioned at will, and placed them under a rear aspect lock without warning. The lesson is simple. In modern air combat, visibility is power, and controlling what the other side cannot see is dominance. At 20 nautical miles of separation, Viper turns gently back toward his original patrol vector. Fuel is steady. Systems are normal. Behind him, 2 fourth-generation fighters are returning home with a different understanding of that sky. They pressed inside engagement range. They achieved a hard lock. And in less than a minute, they lost control of the entire situation. The ocean below is calm. The airspace is quiet. But the data gathered in those seconds will travel far beyond this single encounter. Because today was not about taking a shot. It was about showing how fast the balance changes when one aircraft controls the invisible part of the fight. And the F-22 never needed to go further to prove it. 22 nautical miles. The Iranian F-14S are still visible through infrared tracking, low against the haze and accelerating away. Their formation has stretched out now. Lead slightly ahead. Wingman offset left. The encounter could end here, but it does not. One of the Tomcats hesitates again. Not a full turn, not a renewed approach, just a shallow 5-degree bank back toward the Raptor's patrol lane. A test. Inside the F-22 cockpit, the passive sensors catch the deviation instantly. No radar needed. The infrared signature shifts. The vector line changes. Viper 111 adjusts power. Supercruise, Mach 1.4, Mach 1.5. Climbing. The Raptor surges upward again, reclaiming altitude at 45,000 feet. No afterburner plume, no obvious warning from a distance. From below, the Iranian pilot sees it clearly this time. A faint gray outline crossing the sky at a pace few fourth-generation fighters can match without lighting up their engines. The Tomcat levels out immediately. Test concluded. 24 nautical miles. But the Raptor does not simply leave. It repositions one final time, moving to the high right flank outside their direct visual cone and slightly ahead of their projected escape route. It is not pursuit. It is control. Inside the Iranian cockpits, radar sweeps continue, but they are broad and cautious now. No more narrow beams. No more aggressive locks. Their role has changed. They are no longer pressing forward. They are moving defensively. The F-22 opens radar again, briefly. A narrow, deliberate beam. Both Tomcats appear at once. Clean track, rear quarter geometry, unmistakable. At 18 nautical miles, the warning is clear inside the Iranian jets. Their receivers light up again, but this time there is no sharp break, no dramatic split, no desperate countermeasure burst, only steady acceleration outbound. They understand now. The Raptor releases the lock after 3 seconds. No escalation, no launch, just proof. The airspace stabilizes. 30 nautical miles. The F-22 descends gradually to 40,000 feet, maintaining safe trail separation. Fuel state checked. Internal bays closed. Systems normal. Over the secure data link, the engagement log updates in real time. Radar waveforms are cataloged. Reaction timing is measured down to tenths of a second. Defensive posture changes are marked and stored. Everything is recorded. The Iranian jets drop lower, moving through a thinner band of sky, closer to home airspace. No more banks. No more probing angles. Just straight-line egress. The sky returns to calm. But inside the Raptor, the mission was never only about surviving a lock. It was about controlling the edge of escalation. At 35 nautical miles, Viper performs one final maneuver. He climbs sharply to 48,000 feet and accelerates through Mach 1.6. A brief vapor cone blooms around the aircraft as it pushes through the air. It was not necessary. It was deliberate. From below, the Tomcats register the change in speed and altitude on their instruments. The message is impossible to miss. They had never been in control. The Raptor rolls level, eases off speed, and returns to its patrol profile. Master Arms stays safe. Weapons remain unused. 40 nautical miles. The Iranian radars go completely quiet. No more sweeps, no more signal spikes, no more testing. They are finished. Inside the F-22 cockpit, the threat display clears. Ahead, there is only open sky. But the data from the encounter remains. Every second has been recorded. Every radar lock, every defensive turn, every delay, every hesitation, every reaction under pressure. And that matters more than any weapon release. Modern air dominance is not measured only by what is launched. It is measured by who controls the geometry, who owns the timing, and who can enter the other side's decision cycle without being clearly seen. At 50 nautical miles of separation, Viper turns smoothly back toward his assigned patrol lane. Below, the ocean stretches out unchanged and calm. Behind him, the Iranian jets fade into the haze. They entered the encounter confident in radar reach and engagement range. They left after being tracked from behind, without fully understanding how the Raptor had moved into that position. No radio calls, no warning passes, no visible escalation, only positioning. And in this kind of encounter, positioning decides everything. The F-22 settles back at cruise altitude. Systems are quiet. The threat display is clean. But the moment still carries weight, because both sides had tested the edge. Iran tested how far radar pressure could go. The Raptor showed how quickly that pressure could be reversed. No blast marked the ending, no smoke crossed the sky. But in less than 3 minutes, the balance of control in that airspace shifted completely, clearly, and without a single weapon being used. The edge of escalation held, barely, and the aircraft that controlled it never needed to go further. 60 nautical miles. The Iranian F-14SS are now faint radar contacts moving back toward coastal airspace. Their emissions have stopped. No more sweeps, no more probing beams. Inside the F-22 cockpit, the sky is quiet again. Master Arms safe, weapons internal, fuel steady, no launch. But the encounter is far from meaningless. What happened in those compressed minutes was not a classic dogfight. It was a demonstration. From first detection at 78 nautical miles to final separation beyond 50, every second was logged. Every radar waveform was captured. Every defensive maneuver was measured. When the Iranian Tomcat shifted into hard lock, it moved from presence into intent. That moment mattered. The Raptor did not answer with force. It answered with geometry. By climbing above the radar cone, forcing difficult lookup angles, and then fading through aspect control, the F-22 used stealth exactly as it was designed to be used. Not as magic, but as denial of a stable targeting picture. The Iranian pilots tried to hold the track. They increased radar power, they narrowed the beam, they committed to fire control mode, and by doing that, they revealed everything. Frequency behavior, pulse patterns, lock stability, reaction time under pressure. How long they could hold a track before losing confidence. Inside the Raptor's mission computer, that information is no longer a prediction. It is recorded, stored, and indexed. Then came the reversal. The F-22 repositioned without being clearly seen, moving above, offset, and then behind. It did not need wild turns or dramatic engine flare. It required patience, altitude, and thrust. When the Raptor placed both Tomcats in its 6 o'clock picture, the balance changed instantly. A rear aspect lock at 6 nautical miles leaves very little room for interpretation. The Iranian jets reacted exactly as expected. Split formation, defensive turn, countermeasures in the air, noses dropping away from the fight. Every movement was recorded, every reaction was timed, but nothing left the F-22. That restraint was intentional. The objective was not damage, it was control. In modern air combat, the aircraft that sees first has the advantage. The aircraft that remains unseen gains that advantage even faster. But the aircraft that controls escalation can win the moment without taking the next step. Today, the F-22 demonstrated all three. Iran attempted to apply pressure through radar, closing the distance and committing to a hard lock inside the engagement envelope. The Raptor disappeared from their targeting picture, moved into the position they were least prepared to defend, and placed them under pressure without warning. The entire reversal took less than 90 seconds, and it decided the encounter. There was no radio demand to turn away, no visible warning pass, no public announcement, just silent maneuvering at 40,000 feet, where position mattered more than words. The Tomcats disengaged not because of a command heard over open channels, but because they understood the geometry. They understood that if the situation moved one step further, they would have almost no time to react. The sky returned to calm, but something had changed. Iran tested reach. The F-22 demonstrated control. From far away, it might have looked like nothing happened. Two jets approached, maneuvered, and then turned away. No visible clash, no dramatic ending. But in air dominance terms, everything happened. The Raptor proved it could absorb a radar lock without losing initiative. It showed it could use altitude to break targeting stability, disappear from fourth-generation radar cones, reposition into decisive geometry without being clearly tracked, and apply rear aspect pressure without crossing the line. That combination is not theory, it is operational reality. 70 nautical miles from the initial intercept point, Viper 111 stabilizes on his patrol vector. The mission continues, no celebration, no change in posture. Because this was never about victory in the dramatic sense. It was about holding control of the airspace without pushing the encounter beyond the limit. The Iranian pilots return home knowing something they did not know before. Radar power alone is not dominance. Speed alone is not initiative. And a hard lock against a stealth platform is not the same as control. The engagement window closed without the Raptor using its weapons, but the message was delivered clearly. If escalation had continued, the outcome would not have remained uncertain for long. The F-22 did not need to prove force. It proved inevitability. In the end, what happened above that open water was not a battle. It was a reminder. Air superiority is not about noise, countermeasure bursts, or aggressive radar sweeps. It is about who controls the seconds between detection and decision. Today, those seconds belong to the Raptor, and the side that controls the moment controls the sky.